Well, good morning. Thank you one and all for joining us on this frigid February Thursday. We're so grateful that you could make time in your schedule to be a part of this today. And I'd like to open in a word of prayer and then introduce our guests, because you didn't come to hear from me this morning. So join me as we open in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for your provision. Lord, as we gather today to learn a little bit more about how a Caldwell education can be available in different ways to us, Lord, we ask that you would just grant clarity, help us to have ears to listen, and that we might clearly understand how we can best make use of this opportunity, Lord. So we thank you for who you are. Thank you for our guests for joining us today, and we ask it all in your name, amen. Well, it's my pleasure today to introduce Kwan, who is here on behalf of Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina. She serves as the Director of Community Engagement, and she has been a road warrior. She tells me she was in Asheville yesterday, and they are just crisscrossing the state, talking with schools like ours. So I hope that you'll help her feel most welcome as she comes and shares with us today. So, Kwan.
Thank you. Thank y'all for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. I'm tired, but I'm here, right? It is early. When you work from home, you usually 9-ish. I was like, 8 o'clock. Okay, I can do this. And then I'm an empty nester, so I don't have anybody to get up, get dressed, all that, so I'm kind of spoiled. But today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the expansion on the Opportunity Scholarship. I'll touch a little bit on the program that's for children with disabilities, but it's been useful for us to have one-off conversations because every situation is unique when you're talking about the ESA Plus and being eligible for that. But today is a good day. This is a good problem to have where my team is traveling across the state to talk to schools and talk to the families, because previously this expansion did not include current private school families. Now it has. So we're going to go over not only the changes, but we're also going to go over and give you a snapshot of the application. I'm going to tell you kind of some highlights that I want you to be mindful of if you're getting ready to put in the application, and some things we've learned of that's not a big deal. You know, you see something on the application like, what is that? So we've learned since the application have opened and parents have provided feedback, so I want to pass that on to you. So I'm going to get started. I have to do my shout out to PEFNC. We have been around for a very long time. This is my 12th year with Parents for Educational Freedom, doing what I'm doing now, talking to parents. So I talk a lot. And fundamentally, PEFNC, which is Parents for Educational Freedom, we believe that parents have the right to choose the school of their child's, the choice, where they want their child to go to school. And that's important because there really should be no barriers to a child getting a quality education. So we support not only private school, we support homeschool, we support charters, we support school choice as a whole. On here you'll see that we are on social media. We have Drew, who's our communications guru. Anything that's going on legislatively or with the Opportunity Scholarship, he will post, so you're happy, I'm happy to have you follow us if you are a social media guru like me. This team is very important. This is the team that I lead. We're called the Parent Liaison Team. I have 15 moms. We all have taken some choice for our own personal self. Some are on this Opportunity Scholarship. Some have graduated their children and they are out of college from the Opportunity Scholarship. So many of them have been with me for over 8 years. I mean, even the first hire, Renisha, she's still with me, which I love. So we are here to help you. If I am not available to help or answer any of your questions, I will then pass you on to one of the PL teams. If you opt into our system, you're assigned a parent liaison. All we'll do is say, hey, here's my email, here's my phone number. welcome to our family, right, the PEFNC family, and that is the person that you can call if you have a problem, or me if you can't get in touch with. My rule of thumb is that we get back in touch with you within 24 hours. That's my rule. So with 15, we should be able to do that. So if not, I'll hire more. So I wanted to start with this just to give you a landscape of how education is in numbers as far as students and school choice. As you can see in the traditional public school, the first column is the number of schools in that option currently. The second column then equates to how many students are in that choice. Never going to be enough kids, not enough kids in the traditional public school. We support traditional public school. They actually do have school choice within their magnet programs. So you see that at 1.3 million. Public charter school, I think it's a little bit more than 216. I think some have recently been approved. But we're running right at about 216, and you can see that number. And then private schools definitely, and the reason why I want to show you this number is because we have not heard from current private school families like we have charters or the homeschooling community. And so I would like to see that private school number go up, because right now you can see homeschooling is the #1 school choice option of families in North Carolina, which is good, but this is our time with this expansion for our legislators really to hear from our private school families. Today we're going to talk about the Opportunity Scholarship more, but the other program that is a state taxpayer-funded program is the ESA Plus, and I'll talk about the difference. This slide, and I'm going to send this slide to you, Summer, so you'll have it. You can put it on your website so people can have this information. I want to make the distinction between us, PEFNC, which we are a nonprofit, and we advocate for school choice. We have a legislative team. We have a lobbyist. The North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority, we call it SEAA. Everybody has an acronym now, right? They actually administer the program. So if you were to call me and say, hey, Kwan, what birthday did I put in for my child? I have no access to that. If you were to say, Kwan, did I upload my taxes correctly? I have no access to that. They actually administer this program. Now, you can tell me what you see in your portal. I can answer general questions. We can advocate if there's a change, which we've had to do on this application cycle. But they actually do it. It is a secure portal. They are a secure entity, and so our legislators have deemed them to actually carry out the logistics of this program. The Opportunity Scholarship is still income-based. Initially, it was based on how much you made, and you would have to qualify. You had to make under a certain amount of money to qualify for this. You couldn't have already been in private school if you're in higher grades. All of that has went away, which is a good thing. Because again, let's remember, this is your taxpayer money. So if you right now wanted your child to go into a charter school, 100% of your taxpayer dollars for the per pupil spending that they give in public school goes and follows your child. So the districts get a per pupil spending amount, charter schools get a per pupil spending amount, but it's apples to apples because it's state funded. Private school families don't have that. This is the first step to that, but the money is still not apples to apples the way it should be. So this is, and I'll talk more about your voice in that. So it is income based. The amount of your total household income determines the amount of your scholarship. Pretty simple, right? It is for financial, it's to pay for tuition and school fees. If you get your scholarship amount and there's a balance, you will work with the school on making arrangements to pay that balance. The way the money flows to the school is that the school is an approved school. There are some things that the schools have to do to receive the funding. Very close to them already operating as a private school, nothing extra, but there is a process for the schools to become a part of the program. And so the money goes directly from SEAA, once you approve it, and goes directly to your student account. So you will get the credit on your student account, and then the balance you will work out with the school. Because most private schools, just for cost, the scholarship does not cover 100%. You can see the range here, which is now the new tiered range. The ones most in need, the scholarship amount is $7,468. Those that make more money, it's still their taxpayer money, right? They would get $3,360. Now this infuriates me, even though I smile. It infuriates me because again, I'm a board chair of a charter school. I get, for every student that walks in the building, I get the full per pupil spending for the state. So I can base my budget on, we're gonna have 400 kids, I know exactly how much money we're gonna have when we budget it. That is not the same and equal to private school families. So that's why that makes me angry, even though I'm glad now all of y'all can apply. There are some non-negotiables. You have to be a resident of North Carolina. Your child has to meet the kindergarten cutoff if they're a little one by August 31st going into kindergarten. There is some exceptions around a gifted for pre-K that the school is deemed ready to go into kindergarten. We can talk offline about that. There's some additional testing and some input from the school if you have a 4-year-old going into. But the rule of thumb is you have to be 5 by August 31st to go into kindergarten. You cannot have graduated from, your student cannot have graduated from high school. Now, most schools, they do dual enrollment, they have AP courses, that's totally fine. They just cannot have graduated and started college, okay? Those are some non-negotiables. In your packets, everyone has a copy of this income chart, and I'm gonna go through it, and I'm gonna go through how the lottery works. Again, unfair, but this is a lottery system. And so in looking at the tiers, it is now, because it's open to all families, it's based on your income, they now put a family into a certain tier. The tier that you're in is based on your income range. What range of income do you fit in? So, I'm a family of 4. Let's say Zen and Mason was still in my house, which they're not, and I don't want them to come back. I want them to stay out. My husband was talking like, right, my husband's like, well, he needs to come home and save money. No, he doesn't. He needs to budget and get another job, right? So, and today's my oldest, he's 25. Today's his birthday, so I'm sure he's looking for something, but my husband was like, I fixed his car in December. That's his birthday. That's his birthday. But anyway, I digress. So, let's say that I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, if you have a college student that you are still responsible for, then they would be counted in your household. If you have a little one that is not in school yet, they would be counted in your household. My mother lived with us for a while. She would be considered a part of my household. Okay? So, family of 4, Kwan, Dennis, Zen, Mason. If you made under $57,000, you would be considered in Tier 1. So you could make up to $57,000 being a family of 4. If you're in Tier 1, your scholarship amount is going to be $7,468 for each child. So each child on your application, which we'll talk about the application in a minute, they get their own individual scholarship amount. If you make between $57,000 and $115,000, you would be considered in Tier 2. And that amount of the scholarship is $6,722. Again, each child would get that on the application. If you make between $115,000 and $259,000, you would be considered in Tier 3, and your scholarship amount would be $4,480. Anyone making over $259,000, you're automatically in Tier 4, and it's still your taxpayer money, but you will get $3,360. Totally unfair. I think that's totally unfair. You should get total amount going to your private school for your child to come here. But this is a baby step. We're going to continue to push for full per pupil spending to go to for a family to say, I want my money to go here. We're going to still continue to fight for that. Yes, ma'am?
I did not see on the website, maybe I'm just not looking in the right spot, how we calculate that household income. income?
Right.
Or do you have any guidance on that?
Yeah. So when you look at your tier and you're figuring out which tier I'm in, your total household income, it is your annual gross income for the tax year that we're paying on. So we're in 2024, we're paying on tax year 2023. If you apply next year, you'll be paying on the tax year of 2024, right? So this is your annual gross income for 2023. Now, initially, you don't have to turn in any tax information. It is based on the honor system, and it is also an estimate. They randomly select, after you're offered, different applications to turn in tax information. So April is the month, because it's the tax month, right? You'll get your offer in early April. They are aware of the tax deadline. You will probably have it after that April 15th deadline. But they haven't established that yet. So to your point, is annual gross income. It does include any other income, military benefits, veterans benefits. In the case of a divorce, child support going into one household. All of those extras come in. If you have a college student, if Zen was making good money, I would have to include him. He's getting there, but he's not there yet. But everything that is coming into your household, if my mom was living with me, we'd have to consider her Social Security benefits, okay? Annual gross income. I'm going to talk about the lottery in a minute. Sir, you had a question over there?
Just for
Yes.
the accounting nerds in the room, would this be just kind of like a modified adjusted gross income, including, say, interest on savings accounts and all that?
That is above my pay grade. Now, Mason did major in accounting and finance. He probably could answer that question, but at least as much as we paid for college, he would answer it. But what I do know is that, one, if you're self-employed, if you have a business, they're looking at net income.
Right.
And then if you are salaried, they're looking at annual gross income before anything is taken out. Now, they do have a section, and it's called the income calculator, where they go into detail. If you have retirement, or if you have pensions, or if you have, tell me the word you used, I just lost it.
Modified adjusted gross income or, yeah, income from savings accounts.
Those, things like that, yeah. There's a formula on what you actually would include. And so, Summer, I'm happy to send that income calculator. There's also, I'm going to give a website at the end where you can click on that income calculator and it can go over what things to consider that you have to be able to include.
Okay, sounds like they're separating out taxable income versus what your earnings are.
Everything, yeah. They include taxable and not taxable income coming into your house. Yes, sir. Did I do good? I don't know. Yes, sir.
If you have number of kids, are you entered to the lottery once or individually for each of those individuals?
Great question. So it is what we consider the portal application or the family application. So moms usually take a lot of the, I'm going to make sure and do things like that. So it would be Kwan Graham, it would be the Graham application, and Zen and Mason would be added to it. So if you wanted to take over and kind of, oversee the scholarship, it would be in your name, and then your children would be added to it. So when you're pulled out of the lottery, you're pulled by your parent, the parent's application. So it's only one pull from the lottery, and then Zen and Mason would have that number. And then if we're pulled, then both of them get their own scholarship amount. Okay, great question. Any other questions about the income chart? Yes, sir.
The language at the top says to receive this amount up to, is it saying that it could be more than that and that's the minimum, or is that the maximum?
That's the maximum, because a lot of, not a lot, some private schools, their tuition would be under that amount. So if you're getting $74.68 and the tuition is only $6,500, you're going to get the $6,500. So it's up to that amount. A lot of, especially the larger private schools, they're over even that $7,400, so there's always going to be a balance. So that's the max amount. Great question. Anybody else about the income chart? Okay, we can revisit it. You no? Okay. I didn't know. Okay. I cannot express to you the importance of putting in your application in the what we consider lottery months. It is the whole month of February. Any applications received after March 1st, you're automatically on the wait list. This is not the year to be on the wait list because we've got 4 tiers to go through, right? And so I'll go about how they award, but any application, it doesn't matter what day, it doesn't matter if you did it on the 1st, if you do it on the 8th, which is today, or you do it on the 29th, because this month is the 29th, for February. Now, what I will caution you is I get nervous when families do it after the 15th. Now, that's just Kwan. That's just me, that's just my overreaching. I gotta have everything in order. And the reason why I say that is because let's say we've had some kickback. I got my name spelled wrong, I put in the wrong social with the wrong child, date of birth, they kick it back and they say fix it. You physically can go in and fix it, and then you have to resubmit. If you do it on the 29th and they don't find the error until the 2nd of March, you're on the wait list. So you want to do the 15th to give them plenty of time to look at it, review it. You will get a confirmation email, which I'll show you in a minute, but you want to do it this week, this weekend, let's say Tuesday, let's call it. Tuesday, by Tuesday, right? Let's call it. But it's a very simple application, and I'll show you that in a minute. So how do they award? Yes, sir.
If you're unclear as to if all of your children will be attending private school next year, is there any different process there?
Do everybody.
Okay.
Do everybody. If you even think that you may, because it's a family application.
Right.
So if you decide in July that one that you didn't put on, you have to get on the wait list. So any child that you even think that you want to apply for, you want to put on the application. Now, you can decline one because every child has their own cycle. So if you decline one, it's older, they want to stay where they're at, you can decline and keep the other one and move forward with the other one. Then you'll have 2 kind of tracks, which I'll explain in a minute, but that's still okay. That's still okay. Great question. So renewals. The great thing about this program is once you're on the program, you're on through graduation. The only thing you have to do is February is always the action month. You're going to be doing one of 2 things. You're going to be doing a new application or you're going to be renewing. This year, everybody's doing new. If you get it next year, year after year, you're going to renew. They have to hear from you in the month of February. In fact, they sometimes do renewals like the last week of January to get you out of the way. But like for now, the deadline to do renewals is July 1st. So you have a little more leeway, but you don't want to forget. So as soon as you get that email, you want to go ahead and you want to renew and secure your spot for next school year. So on the renewals, they will ask you where you're returning to, what is your household income for that taxable year, and then you will put the grade that your child is going to. It's very simple. But there is funding, and there will always be funding for those that are on the program. They will renew it every year. Even Governor Cooper, who has been against this program, he has never said kick everybody off and send them back. What he said was nobody new can go on and phase it out, right? So we have our issues with Governor Cooper. I'm not going to get there because I'm still smiling. And it's too early. Like, you don't want that other side, right? I'm sleepy and I'm mad at Governor Cooper. We don't want that. But, so, for new applications, the way that they award, everybody goes in lottery. Every application in February goes in lottery. Graham, Smith, families, that full application. You're assigned a number on how you're pulled out of the lottery. It is true lottery. You can be 10, you can be 105, I can be 501, right? Once you are given your number, they then align you in your tier based on the number you put in your application. So it's very important that you get as close to what you know your tax, what you're paying in taxes, what that number is on your taxes, because that's what your verification is. It's going to be your tax verification. So you want to get as close. If you are close and you're a business or you're not sure, it is the difference between you going in tier 2 or tier 3 or 3 and 4. You really want to be as close as possible. You don't want to be in tier 3 and you should have been in tier 2. Because when the offers come out, they go in order. So you don't want to knock yourself out of being offered. So everybody goes in the lottery, everybody gets a number, you're arranged in your tier, and then they start going in order in the tier. So it's chronological order. So you could be number 1 pulled from the lottery, but if you're in tier 3, you're going to be number 1 in tier 3. You can be number 10, and if you're in tier 1, you're the first one, you can be number 10, but first in tier 1. So it's in order of your lottery number. But they wanted to be fair that everybody has a fair shot of getting a number. They start offering in tier 1 until they finish. Then they go to tier 2, they finish. They go to tier 3 and tier 4. The question is, when is the money going to run out? Right? Yes, sir.
My question, so if it's tax money, how does it run out? Is there a certain ceiling on that?
They've only put so much money in the line item for this program, which is unfair. But, so they've only put, so this year it's around 286 million, but that includes renewals. Next year, they put 415 million to include renewals. Now, why did they not do it the other way? You know why? Because they didn't think it was going to be a demand.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because if we don't show a demand and we don't show that all this money is going to be eaten up, then that 415 million, you know, they're like, well, do they really need it? I don't know. So I cannot express to you the importance of, even if you're in 3 and 4 and you're on the wait list, we have to show demand. Now, the numbers look good because in 4 days, they had 31,000 applications put in. Now, we don't know what tier. That could be all 3, that could be all 4, or that could be 2, right? But if there is a significant wait list, we would have a case to go back and say, why don't we go ahead and pull from that 24, 25, 26 pool of money instead of having y'all have to do it again? Yes, sir.
Do you anticipate, how you know this, research numbers, do you anticipate this going to blow through that money?
It's going to blow through it,
Don't you think?
which is a good problem to have
Right.
because we still have the nest egg of money for 25, 26.
Okay.
But here's the rub, right? The rub is if you're in 3 and 4, while you do get some scholarship, it's not enough to pay for the tuition. It's really a fundamental, we want our money to follow the child. So you are applying to get the money, but those in 3 and 4 that's getting 4480 or 3300, that's just it's a credit, right? You still have a balance, you're still going to have to pay. But if we don't show, I will tell you that the 3s and 4s are going to establish the program with the expansion more than the 1s and 2s. Because the 1s and 2s, that's just about a full scholarship. Right now, the scholarship is $6,492. Am I right? I think that's right. $64.92. That's the way it is right now. So they're already increasing it for those in need and those in 1 and 2. But again, 3 and 4, it's not the full amount. They know that, but they still don't think that fundamentally you want the money to follow your child. Now that's Kwan. This is not recorded, right? No, I'll say it. I don't care. I'm saying I'm standing. What is it? 10 toes down. I'm stand on my. But it really is the 3s and 4s that's going to establish this. And again, when I was talking about hearing from the private school families, this is what I'm talking about. Because it's not about. It's a scholarship based on, oh, you need help. Oh, you need help, or you need help. That's not what this is about. This is about fundamentally changing how private school families, taxpayer dollars, where do they go? And right now, for a number of years, you've been paying tuition, and your money's been going to the public school system, and your child's not there. Private schools and charter schools every year budget on the number of children sitting in the seats. That's how they make their budget. That's how they pay their teachers. That's how they pay the building. Who's in the seat? Traditional public schools aren't really having to do that. They're really big, right? And so I think it's fair for them to have to start doing that, but don't tell President Cooper I said that. I'll go quickly about the ESA program. This is for children with disabilities. This can be used along with the Opportunity Scholarship. There are a lot of families that they'll have one child that's only Opportunity Scholarship, and then another child that may have speech or ADHD or any other type of disability. They will have the Opportunity Scholarship and the ESA Plus. So the award amounts is $9,000 for any IEP or any disability with an IEP, and then the other 17 is for those certain disabilities. Now, an IEP has to be issued from the public school system. So if you've been here and your child has been receiving services, they don't need the plan. Your school has already done that. But they do need the documentation on, it's called the Eligibility Determination Form. It is a part of the IEP packet. An IEP is an individualized education plan. Now, everything else is still the same. North Carolina have to meet the 5-year-old cutoff, can't have graduated from high school. But if you have not been in the public school system for at least 3 years, you will probably have to go back and get an updated IEP. But we can talk about that offline on how to do that. There's another nonprofit that works with us, and the SEAA, they're called ECAC, Exceptional Children Assistance Center. They do what I do about the Opportunity Scholarship. They help you with the IEPs and that process. So we can have an offline conversation about how to do that, who to talk to, especially here in your area. You'd go back to the district or your home school. But we can talk about that offline. Yeah?
Real quick,
Yes?
I spoke with Jill Fairburn on Tuesday about this, and she's pretty well versed on what's required for the ESA Plus.
And she is from public?
Yes, no, she's here.
She's here. Okay, got it.
And so she can help you navigate that process too, if that is
Yeah.
a situation that you want to apply for.
Okay. And her name is?
Jill Fairburn.
Everybody know Jill?
Where's Jill?
Oh, hey. Hey, girl. Go to her. I'm going to send you to her. Thanks for being in the room. Now you got everybody coming to you. So the application period for the ESA Plus is the same as the Opportunity Scholarship. You will have a child that will go into 2 different lotteries. This is not income-based. So it is true lottery number. If you're number 10 and they still have money at number 10, they're going to offer it to you. If you're number 11 and they've run out of money, you'll be on the wait list. So this is a little simpler. Even here, if you start the process and you have not gotten your IEP by the March 1st deadline, you can still go in and get on the wait list, but you're really preparing for next year. Because a lot of families that need this and take this, they usually don't decline. So it's usually their wait list really does not move a lot. Now they have in expansion put more money into this program to accommodate what we're going to perceive as a bigger demand, but the money will inevitably run out. But you still want to have that IEP eligibility determination form is good for 3 years. So it has to be valid within 3 years. Okay? Any questions about that? Yes, sir.
Is it possible, since it's 2 separate lotteries, is it possible to get that and not?
It is. It is. But most get the Opportunity Scholarship and they go on this wait list. But it is possible. Yeah. I thought I saw another hand. No? Good. The first step to creating your account, in your packets, there is a form that has this website, myportal.ncseaa.edu. You have to create an account first, which is the parent information. When you're creating that account, you're going to verify your email, and you're going to create a username and password that you will use to go back and forth into your portal. It is very important not to lose your password and your username. Anybody done FAFSA before and lost their password or their username? It is the same equivalent of trying to get that back. You don't want to go there, right? So you want to write it down. I had mine in the safe, if that makes it how important. But I'm over the top. I'm over the top. So my husband would say, you put everything in the safe, right? So you want to make sure that you have an active email. They talk to you via email. If you miss an email, they have notifications of everything they've sent you. So you really don't want to miss an email. Because if you're offered, you will have a deadline to say yes or no. It's usually 2 to 3 weeks after. Okay? We're gonna take a quick look at the application and then we're gonna wrap up. What will you need to apply? You will need your social, the parent's social, date of birth. You will need the child's social, date of birth. And they do ask you for your driver's license number, but that is optional. So you'll see on the application, there are some that you have to fill out some fields. And then you also need your annual household income for tax year 2023. That's before you even sit down. That's what you would need. This is the first page of the application. I'm going to bring your attention to one, you've already got your account and your information in. You add the child where the add student button is. So you'd go in and you'd add your first Zen, right? I add Zen. I put in his social date of birth because everything else populates over from me. Then I'd go back and I'd add Mason, put in his information, everything populates from me to Mason. You will have I call them status bars, that will be on your application throughout the whole journey. So for the first bar, that is someone that has already completed their application. So when you, and this is a real application, that's why we blocked out. So Allison didn't want y'all to know all her business, right? I was like, somebody in this team has to give me screenshots, right? Because I'm an empty nester. Do y'all know I'm proud of that? But and so for the first one, that is someone, so you see how you have the date that you got started, and then you also have the date that you submitted. Both of those fields should be completed when you hit submit and you go back and check. This is a way to double check. The second student, they're still pending, but you see where it says apply online? That's where you go to start your application for that student. You have 2 students, 2 applications. 3 students, 3 applications. You have a student with ESA Plus, they'll have 2, Opportunity Scholarship ESA, and every other student will have Opportunity Scholarship, right? Okay. There's also, you see the edit application, that's where you would go back if you had to correct something in the edit. I cannot stress to you enough, you have to resubmit. If you don't resubmit, it's in limbo. It doesn't go into the lottery. Okay. This is just information that I've already shared, just talking about the priority, talking about the lottery, order of awards, but we've went over that. Click here for Opportunity Scholarship and you'll go into the actual application. I'll bring your attention to the boxes to the side. That's your status to know whether you filled that form, that part of the application out. At the end, that should all be checked green. Green is always good for Opportunity Scholarship in ESA. Red means you gotta do something. They're missing something. So red is bad, green is good, right? The only thing this is one of the next page, only thing I'll bring your attention here is that they will ask you, how did you hear about the Opportunity Scholarship? For all of y'all, you would put your private, it says non-public school, that is your private school. Why is that significant? We want to give credit that parents in private school are talking, the schools are talking to you, and you are advocating. So you'd want to all select that. And then your driver's license is optional. So you can see where the asterisks are the fields that you have to fill out. Student information, the only thing I'll bring your attention to here, and you can see the checks going, right? The checks are starting to go as we go, is that it asks you for a UID number or a Power School number. You skip over that. That's one of the things we found that they need to correct. That is for someone in the public school. They are assigned a student ID number. And so I don't know why they left that on here because it's totally irrelevant to you putting in. So it's not asterisk, so it's not required, but don't get confused, like what is that? Just skip over it. That is for a public school student. That's just basic information about eligibility, what grade did they graduate, things like that. I'm going to bring your attention here only to, we are under and listed on the application, Parents for Educational Freedom. Because you already have a school of choice, we wouldn't be helping you find another school. But what we will do, if you opt into this and click yes, is that we will get a list of those families that were awarded, that clicked. So we will contact you and say, hey, did you get your email? Did you know? So we're kind of a prompter. I can't tell you how many times the email will go to somebody's spam, and Delisi or Michelle will call, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know, it's out? And then they'll go and they'll do it. So it's just a backup. We won't bother you. We'll just say, hey, you're on our list. Did you check your email, basically. And then if you have a high school student, middle school too, SEAA has a whole college resource area for scholarships and things like that. It's just informational. It's worth having if you don't want to pay for college, right? You want to do scholarships. So, but they do have a large resource on college information. This is where you'll choose your school. Caldwell Academy is already on the drop down. You just drop down, select them. Each child, you have to tell which school. Yes, sir.
We are not listed yet.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're working, they said we're in the.
You're one of the 50. We've got like 50 new schools. They're behind. So what everybody will do, thank you for telling me that. What you will do is you will do school unknown. So you can put in a full application, do school unknown. The school will let you know when they are on the list. You go back and edit, go to this page, and you select them.
Does that trigger a resubmit?
Then you have to resubmit. Now, even if it's after the lottery, after March 1st, because I don't know how far behind they are, that's fine. You can go back, you just have to resubmit. You don't want your application in limbo. So,
But it doesn't
We're
kick
checking
you out.
every 45 minutes or so.
I know, right? Every 30 seconds.
But it's not gonna kick you out of the initial pool, put you on the wait list. That's,
Correct, right. So as long as you have school unknown
okay.
and you hit submit, you're going into the lottery. But if they get it next week and you've already submitted, you can go in and you can edit and choose the school. You just have to resubmit.
So just to clarify.
Yes.
You know, February, end of the month, last day of the month, and then we finally got a list the last day of the month, and we resubmit.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Yeah, so March 2nd, we don't want to resubmit.
Right, don't touch it.
Because
Your
you
full
were saying earlier that it puts us in the wait list automatically if we submit.
after March 1st, correct. So if it is not, if they tell you on the 29th, just wait until March the 3rd, because you would have already been in the lottery, right? They're going to pull every, school unknown, correct. But hopefully y'all will have it before then. I'm going to get the question. You were going to say something?
Is it accurate that you don't make your school selection until August 1st of this coming school year? So it might be better to wait and see if you're awarded for the opportunity scholarship and then select the school?
It depends. If you're currently in the school, it's not going to matter. But usually the deadline for a family to switch schools is August 1st. Now, I don't know what that deadline is going to be now with this expansion. They haven't given us those dates. But if you are currently in the school, you could wait, right? It's not going to affect anything. When you're offered, they're going to say, hey, you don't have a school in your portal. What school are you going to? You can go in and say yes and select the school then. But to your point, I don't want you to mess with this portal around the 29th and March 1st. I don't know, just don't mess with it. Wait till after, right? Wait till you get the offer, but that's a good point, So if the school gets it in the next week or so, you can go in, you can go back and you can select the school, but you have to hit resubmit, okay? If it's after that, then just wait, and then if you get the offer, you can change it at that time. That'd be safe. I feel better with that. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
Question with the tiers. If you're like on a border of one and you're not exactly sure, could you explain what happened if you click the lower tier, but then you get in and then you get accepted and then if it ends up that you're in the higher tier?
They'll adjust the amount.
What is it?
They'll adjust the amount of your scholarship.
Oh, okay, but it doesn't change your position. You don't take it.
Right, because by the time that you would be able to verify that your estimate is either too low or too high, the lottery would have already happened, right? Because the tax verification isn't done until you're offered. So, and it's random. So you could get, hey, we need your taxes, and you could get, no, we don't need your taxes. Both of y'all offer. But they base your scholarship on your tier. So basically, if you were tier 2, and you put yourself in tier 3, and you found out that you really should be tier 2, if they don't ask for tax verification, you're gonna get the amount of tier 3, which is $44.80. And you could be getting $67.22. So,
Apply for the under one, if you, the lower one, if you think you're on.
I can't say that. I can't say that, but yeah. But I can't. You got me? Okay. Yes, sir.
The money,
Yes.
when does the money show up, where does it show up, how does it get to the school?
Yeah. So once you're offered in April and you accept, then the school will be notified that you were awarded the scholarship. They then will go into their portal and they will verify enrollment when school starts. They have to certify that the child is here. You then get a form that says, hey, the school told us that your child is here, here's the tuition, and here's your scholarship amount. You will already know that scholarship amount from April. If you agree with everything on that sheet, you will hit approved, and then the money is sent directly to the school. So families will not see it, but the families control it by the endorsement form, and that's what it's called, has to be approved by the parent before the money is released to the school. So you will be getting notices, hey, time to do the endorsement form. And we don't know, we just know it's in the month of August, going into September, but we don't know exact dates. Schools know more about when to expect that on that timeline, but we know that it's usually after school starts, towards the end of August, going into September.
So the school will be notified a list of people who apply for the scholarship?
Yes, sir.
And how much they will award?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then you will then, because they're going to fill it out, scholarship will fill out their part, and then it'll come to you and say, is all of this true? Okay? Any other? Yes, ma'am.
I know you described this as a baby step, but where would you describe the landscape in terms of where this is headed with fully funding, what you have in mind? Is it?
When they go back into session, we're asking. Because now we have the demand, right? We'll have the numbers of what private schools wanted. Now, we have not gotten there yet. We do have the supermajority right now. This is an election year. As long as the tide doesn't shift, I think we can keep moving forward. Berger, Mike Lee, what's his name? I can't think of the other one's name. They are real good they're supporters. Torbett, they're on the education committee. All of them are in favor to it being equal in per pupil spending, but they have to do it slowly. So we're going to ask every year, and we hope to get it now that we have the supermajority, because Cooper's going to veto it, and we can override it. That's how we got this expansion. Yeah.
That kind of goes along that. If you had somebody that maybe was guilty in tier 3 or 4
Yeah.
about applying for this, would you say, don't be guilty, we need your applications?
Absolutely. You're helping the ones and twos.
Right.
Yeah, it's a community thing, right? Not only is it fundamentally your taxpayer money anyway, that's just fundamental. But even if you said, I don't need it, I would say, please do it, because for the overall expansion of the program, your application helps that. And then it goes to the school if you get it. But even if you have to apply next year, we have to keep doing it, because demand is going to be, okay, so now we have to keep upping up that number, because everybody is demanding their money follow the child. So, yeah, 3s and 4s help the 1 and 2s at this point. Because it's not gonna, it's a little bit, right, to your overall. It's really a fundamental thing. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Since it is an election year and I'm sitting here trying to do my sample ballot, do you all ever endorse candidates or say, here's,
We do. If you're opted, if you opt into our system, we will send you a list of representatives and we back school choice supporters. It could be Democrat, it could be Republican. Right now, it's mainly Republicans, but we would send you a list and say, hey, here's how your representative voted. Call them, email them, press them to any school choice measure, because it's really under one umbrella. They talk a lot about charter schools because they're public, but they're fighting against charters too. We have, you know, trying to change stuff. So private schools now with this expansion, it's all over the news. You heard Governor Cooper declare 2024 the year of public school. He declared that, and he declared a state of emergency way back when, and that was totally against this Opportunity Scholarship Program. But that was a total slight. We were real mad about that. But Mike told us, stand down. Let's get through the application period, stand down. Because Ryan is worse than me. He's worse than me. And he's like, let's write an editorial. Let's go, you know. He said, no, we had to stand down. But he is not an advocate of this program, and he's going to do whatever he can to stop the progress. So, school choice representatives are who you want in office, right? Here's where you do the total income and how many people are in your household. Okay. And then this is the page. As you can see, all the checks are green. This is the page to certify all your statements, and then you hit submit. I tell everybody take a picture of this at the end, because until you get your confirmation email, which they're behind, they're going to get to you, but take a picture of that just to be sure. And you can see it to the side, all your checks are green. This is on here, don't worry about the NC schools around me, but there's a list of direct payment schools. Your school will be listed on that direct payment school. And so that's what we're waiting on now as they're in the process. The last one is, this is a website that if you need, this is our website, PEFNC. You can go to schoolchoicenorthcarolina.com if you need application assistance, if you want to look at the income calculator, if you want to double check to make sure that you're in the right tier based on what you put in there, it'll prompt you questions. And so you're welcome to go there. That's my contact information. Call me anytime, because I'm just chilling. Unless one of them comes home for a little bit. I'm like, when are you going home? But, and they do that every now and then. But you can contact me, you can email me, you can text me anytime. And I will, if I'm unavailable, I will spin you to one of the 15. But that's all we do all day.
I saw where all the funds were spoken for last year. Do you have any feel for how many people applied and then did not get a scholarship last year?
I don't know, but I know that they were pulling from the wait list. In October, November, even December, they were pulling from the wait list. So I think they fully got everybody off the wait list because it was late awards that they had. And that would be a good problem to have this year too, because people are going to inevitably choose something else. But because it's current private school families, y'all aren't going anywhere, right? So, you know, you're going to accept it. So I don't know how big that wait list is going to be pulled from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just didn't know they got.
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I had made a mistake because I came in.
No, you're good.
But is this the first year that they have allowed this for private school?
First year.
Okay.
Yep. We fought for it and we got it. And it was a override that got it. We had to go back and get because he had vetoed it. But yeah, this is the first year. Hence why we're so busy. Yeah, no, we've been fighting a long time, but we're going to get to that equal per pupil spending. We're going to get to that. Any other questions? This is my last slide. Any other questions? Y'all had great questions.
Thank you.
That was good. I did okay. I didn't go too far over. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And I'm going to stick around. I'll be back here if you have any questions. I'll stick around for a little bit.
Thank you everybody for coming. Kwan, again, thank you so much for your time and your expertise and insight. We're really grateful for that. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Thanks.